and you know, daring to be great.
You would fight him.
Man, tell him to come up there.
He got to come to win 54.
He said I got a glass chin, so tell him to come and touch it.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Tank has never been one to stay silent, and once again, he's got the boxing world buzzing. It all started when the prestigious Ring Magazine Awards took place at the Old Royal Naval College in London. Was a night to remember, with some of the biggest names in boxing in attendance. Alexander Usyk, Canelo Alvarez, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, Lennox Lewis. The list was stacked. Nearly every major star was there. Well, almost.
Tank cannot fuck with Terence Crawford at all. Y'all keep pushing for that. He will destroy Tank, bro.
One big name was noticeably absent from the guest list, Gervonta Davis, and when Tank realized he hadn't been invited, he didn't hold back. In true Davis style, he took to Instagram, ready to call people out. He wasn't just annoyed, he was furious. Tank reposted the same image Matchroom Boxing had shared from the event and fired off a string of insults. Oh, why didn't they invite everyone? They only brought in people they work with. Get out of here. Stop the nonsense. But he didn't stop there. He even took a shot at Eddie Hearn, calling him a little rat. Davis added, "Look at him," thinking he made a big move. Now tell them to fight each other since they've got such a deep roster.
These fighters now, like, they trash. Yeah, they trash. I think back in the day, fighters was better than the fighters today.
Tank didn't stop with Eddie Hearn. He had plenty to say about Turki Alalshikh, the owner of Ring Magazine, and a key figure in Saudi boxing events. Davis went off, accusing him of knowing nothing about the sport. They act like this guy is good for boxing when he's not doing anything, Tank said angrily. If that's true, why isn't he building up fighters from his own country? He knows nothing about boxing, yet they're relying on him? But this wasn't just about being left off the guest list. For Tank, it felt personal. It was about who gets celebrated in boxing and who gets overlooked.
Obviously, all the fans want to see you and Tank in the ring this year. Do you think Turki Alalshikh's the man to make that?
Yeah, I think that that's going to be a tremendous fight. I think he's saving boxing, so once Tank gets with him, and I think the fight's going to happen.
Tank believed the event was more about favoritism than showcasing real talent. To make things worse, he didn't hold back from taking shots at fighters heading to Saudi Arabia for Turkey's Riyadh season events. They have to go over there to make money, and they still do it, Tank wrote in his rant. I sell where I'm from, America. He mocked the boxers who travel overseas for the big payday, saying, they fight in front of small crowds just because the checks are fat. They go over there, get their butts kicked, fighting in front of 19 people, but it's cool because they're rich.
I've been hearing some rumblings about Terence Crawford versus Tank Davis. And when I think about this fight, I am getting Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia vibes.
For many, Tank's comments seemed bitter, but he stood his ground, making it clear he wasn't going to bow to anyone or chase money like some others. He was frustrated and angry, and his words made it clear he felt disrespected by being left out. It didn't take long for Terence Crawford to join the drama. Never one to hold back, Crawford saw this as the perfect opportunity to take a jab at Tank on Twitter. He couldn't resist posting, I see somebody mad they weren't invited to the Ring Magazine gala.
Here's somebody like Tank say, 147, I knock Bud out.
Well, he just talking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he got the confidence in himself that he believed that he can do that because he's been knocking all these fighters out that he's been in the ring with.
The tweet quickly went viral, with fans from both camps jumping in. Crawford's laughing emojis made it clear he was enjoying the drama, and his tweet only added fuel to an already heated situation. Fans were eager to see how Tank would respond, and of course, Davis didn't disappoint. In no time, Tank fired back with a fiery reply that kept the tension high. You're nothing but a puppet, he said, addressing Crawford directly. Y'all chasing after the money. You're one of the reasons I want to leave all this behind. Boxing's become boring. It's all about the money now.
Are you retiring? Are you losing the love?
What changed? What made this shit trash? Garbage.
If you got the opportunity to sign a prospect for GTD,
But yeah, Tank's reply was filled with frustration, not just toward Crawford, but at the state of boxing itself. He seemed fed up with how the sport was heading, and his words suggested there were deeper issues he's been dealing with for a while. For Tank, the sport he loves seems to be losing its soul, replaced by money and politics. The back and forth between Tank and Crawford didn't come out of nowhere. These two have had tension building for years. While they've never fought, the rivalry between them has always felt personal. Tank has always been confident in his skills, even boldly stating that he'd knock Crawford out if they ever faced off. Crawford, on the other hand, has remained at the top of the sport, building a legacy as one of the best. The clash of egos between him and Tank is something boxing fans can't get enough of. They represent two different sides of the sport. Crawford is often seen as the ultimate professional, chasing greatness and taking on all challengers, while Davis brings the swagger and fire that fans love, always ready to speak his mind no matter who it offends. This latest spat only added more fuel to their already heated dynamic. Fans can't stop talking about the possibility of these two finally settling things in the ring, even though they fight in different weight classes. The idea of Tank and Crawford facing off might seem impossible, but in boxing, anything can happen, especially when there's bad blood involved. For now, it looks like this war of words is far from over. Both fighters are standing their ground, and neither is backing down. Fans are left wondering what's next. More insults, a confrontation, or maybe one day, an actual fight. Whatever happens, one thing is certain. The tension between Tank and Crawford is only growing stronger, and the world is watching.
How far away are we from getting Bud Crawford and Tank Davis? And would weight be an issue there, or would that just be a matter of you waiting for him to be ready for you?
Yeah, no, Tank is at a lower weight class than me. He's at 135. I'm at 147. That's 2 weight classes apart. So
he would have to come up.
Yeah, because I wouldn't never.
You can't get that low.
So that's not gonna happen. Because I saw people talking about it. You don't think that'll?
Not everyone sees Tank as off course. Some boxing legends are actually praising him for not giving in to the Saudis. Tim Bradley, known for always speaking his mind, has taken plenty of shots at Tank over the years. From criticizing his style in the ring to questioning his commitment to the sport and even his resume, Bradley hasn't held back. However, it seems things have shifted recently. Bradley now appears to be trying to mend fences with Tank, even going so far as to publicly praise him for standing his ground against what many see as the overwhelming influence of Saudi Arabia and the money tied to it.
I'd ask your thoughts on Tank saying he'd knock out Terence in 6 rounds. You think he was playing, trolling, what? Selling tickets to his new fight?
Was that like his tweets? Like he's
he said it on video.
Huh?
He said audio. He said it. He's like, if I tap that chin.
Bradley's latest comments came in response to Tank's outburst about Turki Alalshikh and the boxers flocking to Riyadh for big paydays. In fact, Bradley seemed to admire Tank's courage for speaking out on something that many others were clearly avoiding. He couldn't help but offer his praise, but with a catch. That's why I respect Tank, Bradley said. Hey Tank, you got a new fan, dog. You're a real one. Lately you've been showing me you're a real one. I like that. Bradley's words seemed sincere as he gave Tank credit for not falling into the trap that other boxers had, chasing the big paydays in Saudi Arabia at the cost of their integrity. Bradley continued, saying, Tank was one of the few fighters not willing to stoop down and grovel for money. The former champion praised Davis for standing firm, choosing not to compromise his principles for a big payday in Riyadh. Bradley didn't hold back, making it clear how much he admired Tank's decision to speak up. I like what you're doing. Man, Bradley said, you're saying I don't need Shakur because you don't want to go over there.
One thing I can say about Tank is he's smart. He can box. Yes. And he explosive. You know what I mean? But I'm saying skill wise and in the mind, I don't think neither one of them.
However, Bradley made it clear that his respect for Tank was conditional. If Tank were to suddenly take a deal in Saudi Arabia after all his criticisms, Bradley said he would have a problem with it. If you go over there and take back everything you said, kiss the ring too, Bradley warned. You know Shakur is over there, and that's why I respect you. You're saying I don't need Shakur because you don't want to go over there. But if you go back on your word, you're gonna lose a big fan, dog, and I'm gonna come at you. I'm gonna come at you for real. Bradley's comments showed a shift in how he sees Tank Davis. For a long time, Bradley was highly critical of Davis, calling him out for his behavior both in and out of the ring.
Oh, stop closing up. Gotta let it go. Keep turning, step around.
Now seeing Davis stand up against what he views as the corrupting influence of money in boxing, Bradley seems to be softening his stance. He's acknowledging that Tank has a certain level of integrity, at least when it comes to refusing to fall in line with the money machine that is Saudi Arabia. It's also clear that Bradley respects Tank's willingness to speak out about what he believes even when it's not the most popular stance. With fighters like Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez, Ryan Garcia, and Devin Haney reportedly making deals with Turki Alalshikh for massive paydays in Saudi Arabia, Tank's refusal to take that route stands out in Bradley's eyes. That makes Tank a real one, someone who's sticking to his principles and staying true to his roots.
What are your thoughts on Gervonta Davis saying that he's gonna walk away from boxing after 2025?
Look, I don't blame him. I'll tell you that much. I don't blame him, man. This sport ain't no joke.
If the fight not there, you gotta walk.
At the same time, Bradley doesn't hold back when it comes to calling out the other fighters who've accepted these big offers. He's critical of Canelo, Ryan Garcia, and others who, in his view, compromise their integrity for the sake of money. By contrast, Tank's refusal to go down that path makes him stand out, especially in Bradley's eyes. But Bradley's respect for Tank isn't unconditional. If Tank were to take a deal with Alalshikh or anyone else in Saudi Arabia, Bradley wouldn't hesitate to call him out for it. Bradley's change of heart seems genuine, but it's also an interesting shift in the boxing world. It's clear that Tank Davis is becoming more than just a controversial figure in the sport. He's starting to gain respect from people who once criticized him. His refusal to be a part of the Saudi money machine has earned him some unexpected allies, and Tim Bradley is just the latest to publicly show his admiration. However, this refusal to join the Saudi money machine adds an interesting layer to the rivalry between Terence Crawford and Gervonta Davis, which is heating up again. It's clear that fans have been curious about how this fight would play out. Both men are giants in their respective weight classes, and while they fight in different divisions, there's no denying their paths are on a collision course. Crawford, now the WBA super welterweight champion, after his win over Israel Madrimov, has cemented himself as a 4-weight world champion. He's made a name for himself in lightweight, super lightweight, and welterweight, with his crowning achievement being his dominant stoppage victory over Errol Spence Jr. at 147 lbs.
Met at a catch weight of 137 pounds. So what are we talking about here? Gervonta Tank Davis, which would be the A side in this situation, would never move up to 147 pounds and fight Terence Bud Crawford, the legendary Tank.
Meanwhile, Tank Davis continues to dominate the lightweight division with his most recent victory over Frank Martin in June. His explosive power has made him one of the most dangerous men in boxing, as seen in his impressive knockout wins over Ryan Garcia, Leo Santa, Cruz, and Rolando Romero. Tank's ferocious punch has earned him a reputation as one of the hardest hitting fighters in the game, and his unblemished record of 30 wins with 28 knockouts speaks for itself. For years, fans have speculated about what a potential showdown between these two would look like, and both fighters have publicly expressed interest in facing off.
Davis, speaking about you, is that ever a possible fight?
Yeah, if he want to dare to be great, he can be like all the other fighters that moving up 2 weight classes, and during the beat.
Tank has even mentioned that he would be willing to step up in weight to take on Crawford, a sentiment that has only fueled the growing anticipation for the fight. But Crawford is no stranger to bold statements, and his latest comments have added even more fuel to the fire. When asked about the prospect of facing Tank, Crawford had a simple response. There's levels. With those 2 words, Crawford made it clear that while he respects Tank's confidence, he believes there's a stark difference between their skill sets. Crawford has dominated in multiple weight classes and faced some of the best in the sport, including the likes of Spence. His technique, versatility, and experience in the ring make him one of the most complete fighters in boxing today.
But there's definitely levels. And if he come up to 147 and he's thinking he's just gonna knock Terence Crawford out, got another thing coming.
So that's the fight you would make happen? If he wanted to come up to 147?
Yeah, I'll stay at 147 for him. That's a big money.
That's a big fight, yeah. That's a big money.
Crawford wasn't done there. He went on to explain that while he has no issue with Tank's belief in himself, the outcome of a fight between them would be far different than Tank might expect. He's just talking, Crawford said, referring to Tank's bold predictions. He's got the confidence in himself that he believes he could do that because he's been knocking all these fighters out. No knock to Tank, but if he thinks he's going to knock me out, he's got another thing coming. Those words speak volumes. Crawford isn't just confident, he's downright sure of himself. He believes the hype around Tank's knockout power is overblown and that he's prepared to handle whatever Tank brings to the table.
Don't sleep on the fact that if him and Tank fought at about 140.
As of now, Crawford is competing at 154 lbs, and the prospect of a fight with Tank Davis seems increasingly unlikely. Crawford has his eyes set on even bigger challenges in the super welterweight division, including a potential showdown with another world champion in 2025. Given this, the odds of them meeting in the ring anytime soon seem slim. However, that hasn't stopped fans from dreaming about what could be an epic clash between 2 of the sport's biggest stars. It's clear that both fighters are coming from different directions, but their paths are still closely intertwined. Tank's rise in the lightweight division and Crawford's dominance at welterweight and now super welterweight put them on a potential collision course, which could become one of boxing's biggest fights if the stars align. Both men have talked about the possibility of facing each other, and even though Crawford has made it clear he doesn't see Tank as a legitimate threat, there's always the chance that a fight could happen if Tank continues to rise and Crawford has nowhere else to go.
How you feel about that fight? Is it even possible at a catch weight?
Nah, ain't no catch weight. You come up to 47.
You're not even entertaining a catch weight.
No, I'm not.
He's a champ though too, undefeated.
And what champ? Come on, man, tell me what belt. You know boxing. You forgot Devin Haney is undisputed. Devin Haney got all the belts. He the champ. Nobody else the champ. I'm gonna come up here where the big boys at.
All right.
Roy Jones Jr. didn't hold back when sharing his thoughts on the hypothetical clash between Terence Crawford and Gervonta Davis. Despite the 3-division gap between the 2 boxing superstars, Jones believes the fight would be far from a mismatch if they were to meet around 145 lbs. In an interview with Real Life Productions, the multi-division world champion called it a good damn fight, highlighting both men's boxing intelligence and unique strengths. Jones emphasized that Crawford, with his incredible versatility and experience across multiple weight classes, remains one of the toughest challenges in boxing. He's cleared out divisions and dominated elite fighters, including his memorable stoppage of Errol Spence Jr. Crawford's move up to super welterweight has only further cemented his status as one of the sport's pound-for-pound best.
I got a question for you, Tank. At 147, how does a fight with you and Terence Crawford look?
147? 147.
I tapped that chan. You know he going to sleep.
I already know. I already know
he ain't got no chance.
I already know he is. You said no chance.
I got round 5. Shit, I got round 6.
However, Jones pointed out an element that could make Davis a legitimate threat: his explosiveness. That's the one thing Tank's got that Errol didn't have. Jones said, noting that explosive power can be a game changer, even against a technical fighter like Crawford. Drawing from his own experience, Jones explained, "In boxing, an explosive fighter can go a lot of places. I was only able to cover the weights that I covered because I was so explosive. Explosiveness keeps people in check." Jones's comments acknowledged that Davis, despite competing at lightweight, possesses a dangerous combination of knockout power and ring IQ that could make him competitive against bigger fighters. Davis's record of 28 knockouts and 30 wins speaks to his ability to end fights in an instant, and Jones sees this as the equalizer that could make a matchup with Crawford so intriguing. While Crawford is focused on a potential blockbuster fight against super middleweight champion Saul Canelo Alvarez, a move that would require him to jump 14 lbs, Davis has his own path, with a fight against Lamont Roach Jr. on the horizon, and plans to retire at the end of the year. Davis's career trajectory remains uncertain. Still, Jones's endorsement of the hypothetical showdown adds fuel to the ongoing debate about what might happen if these two forces in boxing ever shared the ring. For now, both fighters will continue their separate campaigns, but the idea of Crawford versus Davis remains a tantalizing what if for fans. What do you think though? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more updates. See you in the next one.